Presented by the Daily Free Press, this is Unmasked. Welcome back to Unmasked, a storytelling podcast that uncovers the thoughts, feelings, and voices of the BU community. I'm your host, Adam Lazowski. For our generation, social media has been an integral part of life. We grew up alongside various platforms that provide us with social connection, news, and entertainment. At its best, social media is a viable form of finding or spreading information quickly, but at its worst, it can be a source of widespread conflict and misinformation. No one can ignore the prevalence that social media has in our current day and age, and whether it will continue to dominate our screen time in the future. For this episode of Unmasked, we uncover people's thoughts and opinions on social media as a whole, and whether they have a personal relationship with it. Now let's turn it over to our field reporting segment, where we ask students their opinions on social media.
Hi, I'm Veronica Thompson.
And I'm Adam Lazowski, and today we're at GSU asking students a specific question.
We're asking them how they feel about social media. Hi, I'm Veronica Thompson, your field reporter for today. Our question is, how do you feel about social media?
I think it's a great medium to get connected to people you know, and also a great way to, hear about news and whatnot. But it's also kind of dangerous in the sense that it's really addicting and it can be really toxic at times.
I wish I was better at social media. My accounts are frequently boring and look like a boy's account. But I follow other people on social media, and maybe I'll get better at it in the future.
It's part of my life, but also sometimes we want to get away from that.
It's confusing because there's a lot of things that it's brought on that are kind of great, but as a lot of scholars have said, there are many negatives to it as well, such as bullying. The good parts, though, include connections.
I think I'm a little too addicted to my social media, if I'm being entirely honest. I run an account for my work, and then obviously I use it socially as well for myself, so I think I'm on it more than I should be, but I think it does have its uses, and it is very helpful sometimes.
Well, we have a lot of feelings about social media. We don't feel like we have anything really new to say on the matter, though. Like, I feel like it's all been said in conversation before. Like, it's like good in moderation, but it can be extremely toxic if you're on there for the wrong reasons or if you're on there for too much time.
It's really nice to keep in touch with friends too, to have like memes to send to them. I send my friends memes all the time of the dumbest shit. So yeah, it's a good way to stay in touch.
Yeah, it's a great way to keep in contact with people that you don't get to see all the time, Being at college, you don't get to talk to friends from home, but that makes it possible. So it's a really nice privilege to have, but there's also a lot of negatives for sure.
I honestly think social media is kind of toxic because some people portray themselves more than what they actually are. Even though I'm a social marketing director for a club, it's sometimes good to advertise marketing strategies on social media. However, sometimes it's toxic because you compare other people with and then you think low of yourself. So honestly, I deleted my Instagram account even though I'm a club marketing director for Instagram.
I feel like it's at the same time connecting everyone, but also isolating us.
It's a great way to make money. You want to do something, just make a bunch of little TikTok videos about it, post it every day, and you'll make a lot of money. On the flip side of that, you can't let it consume you. Bro, nobody cares about this stuff in real life. So it's a double-sided sword. Make it work for you. Otherwise, it's gonna mess you up. So that's how I feel about it. Make money.
I think that it, in many cases, it can become very polarizing. And, social media is very tied to news coverage and, media coverage, or mainly news coverage. My team members weigh in.
I work in social media marketing for a skincare company, like specifically with TikTok, so I've been kind of involved on that a lot, but I definitely see social media, and especially Instagram, like as a platform becoming more commercialized, and you could argue that it's like more personal or even less personal because it's like less of your like friends and family, but it's so personal to your interests.
I don't like it at all. I feel like even though everyone kind of talks about how other people pretend in social media, I think they do it themselves as well. I feel like the more you use it, the more you try to like work for your on your image for other people. And I don't know. I think it's hard to avoid, but you should avoid it as much as you can.
I also think it encourages a lot of the perverse behaviors in terms of how you think about things. Like, social media probably encourages you to stay in your epistemic bubble and kind of reinforce the thoughts you already agree with and kind of push away the thoughts that you might not agree with but would probably like make you question what you believe in. And that's probably a net negative overall for society.
Yeah, I think it kind of reinforces what he said. I think the term would be circle jerk to a degree. There's a lot of places on social media where I believe it does have its goods. People can spread their ideas and people can reach groups, individuals they never would have been before. But at the same time, what comes with that is closed communities where there is no real, diversity of thought. It's all kind of the same thing and it just brews, and not a fan of it.
I think social media is great. It's definitely one of the best tools of our generation for networking, keeping up with friends, being funny, but at the same time it can be really debilitating on your self-image, comparing yourself to other people and their success. So I think it's just really important to try to keep a broad image on it so you don't end up hurting yourself in the end. Yeah.
How do I feel about social media? I think social media does a net good, and it does as much as you want it to do. I feel like a lot of kids are growing up with it ingrained in them, and almost like TV was for us. So if you understand that it's going to be there for you, or for however you want to use it, then it's always going to be good for you. And as long as you don't go overdo it and don't show off something that isn't you or something like that, then you should be all right with it.
So after hearing all the quotes today, we just wanted to talk about our personal relationships with social media. For me, I actually don't have any social media, and I never really have. It's really not a matter of actively rejecting it. I just never got around to it, and I don't really feel like it now. And I think it would be too overwhelming for me to have social media as well. Just information overload. How about you, Adam?
For me, it's a similar situation. I deleted Instagram. I actually did an experiment to try to see how long I could last without it. I tried for 3 weeks, and the results, were amazing. You feel like you have more time. You feel like you interact with people in a more honest way, and you just get more experiences because you're not sitting on your phone all day. Additionally, without having Instagram or Snapchat or any of the major social media platforms, you start to see yourself looking more up into the world rather than down on your screen, which is also something big that I think everyone should practice on a daily basis, especially if we're students in college trying to meet new people.
I definitely feel like at the same time, though, for me, I noticed that it's kind of hard to get involved at the same extent you can if you have social media, because you can easily look up and contact clubs or organizations or find a lot of information or connect with specific people if you have social media, which can be a very important part of networking and socializing in college. But I do agree with you that for humans, it will always be important to be able to socially connect in person and physically and have those skills that you don't learn from social media.
So overall, if we were to think about it, there are pros, there are cons, and it's up to you to decide.
Thanks again for listening to this week's episode of Unmasked, presented by the Daily Free Press. Make sure to tune in every Wednesday to hear the latest episode, and find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Our podcast archive is located at dfpress.co/listen, where you can listen to previous episodes of Unmasked and hear people share their takes on intriguing topics. Once again, this is your host, Adam Lazowski, signing off until we meet again. Goodbye.